Here's a story about a rabbi, Yeshua Harif. He was a big opposer to the Chassidic movement. This is like one generation after the Baal Shem Tov. But he married a woman that her parents were very adamant Chassidim. They were followers of the Rebbe of Ruzhin, holy rabbi. And they tried to convince him to go and see the Rebbe of Ruzhin, but he refused. And they kept insisting and insisting until finally he had no choice. So he decided he would go to see the Rebbe of Ruzhin, and he would prove to everybody that he wasn't really worth following. So there was a question that had always bothered him, this Rabbi Yeshua Harif. He was a genius in learning Torah. And the question that always bothered him was that he also knew how to learn Gemara and Kabbalah. He learned the Zohar. And there's one place in the Zohar where it directly contradicts something that says in the Torah, in the Gemara. In the Talmud, it says that vows, there's what's called a shavua and a neder. It says that vows, one of them deals with things that already exist, and the other can apply even to things that don't exist. Don't exist. That's what it says in the Talmud. And in the Zohar, it says exactly the opposite. The one that the Talmud says deals with only things that do exist. You make a vow, only the things that do exist. The Zohar says that no, it's not so. A vow is talking about things that don't exist. So it's a total opposite, one from the other. So he always had this question. So he decided that's what he's going to do. He's going to go to this Rebbe of Ruzhin, called Rebbe Yisrael of Ruzhin. They call him the Holy Ruzhin. And he's just going to think this question. He's going to think the question. And if the Rebbe, when he's speaking, he reads his thoughts, then he'll go after him. So he went to the Rebbe and he sat among he went there for a Shabbat, prayed with everybody, and he sat down for the meal, and he heard this Rebbe speaking, this Rebbe of Ruzhin speaking. And the Rebbe of Ruzhin, among the other things that he said, he brought down from a Talmud. It says in the Talmud, a very interesting story. Once there was an argument in heaven between the heavenly court and God. It deals with a certain law of impurity or not. Impurity, like in the time of the temple. God said one thing and the heavenly court said something different. So the heavenly court, they said, let's go and ask Rabbi Bar Nachmani. He's a big expert in these laws. So they came down to this physical world and they asked Rabbi Bar Nachmani, what is the law? What is the law? And Rabbi Bar Nachmani, he said that the law is like God. So that's the law. The law is like God. It's a question if he had to die in order to say this or not, but nevertheless, a human being in the world, he said the law is like God. Right, very good. So he said the law is like that. So, but let me just have 1 minute. I just don't want to forget this. What Rabbi Bar Nachmani said. Just give me a second over here. Here we go. This is this. Oh, here it is. Here it is. 1 minute. 1 minute. Give me a second. Yeah, that's right. The Rebbe of Ruzhin said that people don't respect me to be learned. But the fact is, I finish all the books of the Talmud once a month. But my grandfather, the Maggid of Medrash, they say that the Rebbe of Ruzhin, that in fact they never saw him learn, but he didn't have a mark on his upper lip. It says that before a person is born, he's taught the whole Torah, but angel comes and hits him on the lip, makes him forget, and he didn't have that. He said, but my grandfather, the Maggid of Medrash, he was recognized as a big Talmud scholar. And So, yeah. So it says, give me a second. I just want to read this. That's right. That's right. Good. I said right. I said it correctly. Correctly. So they asked Rabbi Bar Nachmani, and Rabbi Bar Nachmani, he said that God's opinion is right. God's opinion is right. But interestingly enough, if you look in the Maimonides, now this is clearly written in the Talmud, that that's the deciding opinion between this argument between God and the heavenly court, that Rabbi Bar Nachmani, he decided that God is right. But if you look in Maimonides, you'll see that Maimonides, when he deals with this law, what's the law? He decides the law not like God. He says that the law is like the heavenly court. Now, obviously, the Maimonides knew what it said in the Talmud. How could he do this? How could he do it? So he said, because there's in heaven, there's can be two ways of looking at things. There's the way that God looks at it, and God purposely gave the Torah to us that we should be able to decide also. We should also decide. He said there's God's opinion, and there's the opinion of the heavenly court. Heavenly court. It says the same thing with this, the question about vows. That was the question that this Yeshua Harif had. This question about vows. The Zohar is saying what the opinion of God is, and the Talmud is saying what the opinion of this physical world is. What the Rebbes, because God put the Torah into the physical world. Now he said all this, the Rebbe of Ruzhin, he gave this whole answer without it being asked to him orally. He didn't actually say the question. So he said it's the same thing is also in our case. The contradiction between the Zohar and the Talmud is really not a contradiction. The Zohar is saying the opinion of God, but the Torah was given into the physical world. And therefore, the Talmud is saying the opinion of the heavenly court, how it is in this world. And then he turned to this Rabbi Yeshua Harif, and he said, now are you ready to be one of my followers? Rabbi Yeshua Harif realized that the Rebbe of Ruzhin not only read his mind, but also even gave an answer to the question that had been bothering him his whole entire life. And so it says Mashiach will come and answer all of the questions that people have in the Talmud. But we need Mashiach now. Have a good day. God bless you all. And see you next week on Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning.